Well, hello there guys. Today we're going to be drawing a nice, quick, simple, easy picture of Wolverine. Now, I've been taking a look on Google Images to find my favourite picture that I could really of Wolverine. And I came across this really excellent piece of art by a guy called Fpeniche. So I'm going to link down into the description below his DeviantArt page. It's definitely worth a look. But we're going to break down his image, his version of Wolverine, just so that we can try to make it accessible and drawable for everybody at home. Now, go ahead and draw a circle in the top right part of your page, and we're going to have Wolverine facing off to the left. It's quite a particular pose, so we're going to have to build this up using lots of basic shapes. Now, this is a bit of a longer kind of growling face in this one, so I'm drawing a center line that goes off to the side, and then I'm just going to flatten it out here so that it's almost twice the length of this circle that I've started with. And then I'm just going to bring a line straight down to the bottom of the chin here. We're going to really shape this off in a little bit to make it sort of much more dynamic, but that's going to be our starting point. Now, where we've got this line of the circle coming round, this is around about the level that we're going to have the character's eyes already. So I'm going to go straight in and I'm going to mark it by just doing some heavy brows. With these comic book style angry male characters, you can just pop a brow line in, just like that. And then on the other side as well, going to come straight up like that. And that helps us place the eyes and the rest of the features really conveniently. Now I'm also going to create a bit of a lump map down the left-hand side. So just above this brow line, just as the circle enters its bottom third of the shape, I'm going to bump out slightly to the left to create the top of the brow. I'm going to let it come in against the original line for the inset of the eye. But I'm going to bump out again for the cheekbone and then come back in once more. And then once it comes down, I'm just going to follow this line. So this is now about 2/3 of the way up this particular zone, the kind of face zone. And I'm going to just let that finish into a point where the nose will likely be. And then bring that triangle back up, almost aiming to the edge of this circle, like so. But then once I'm about halfway through this zone, I'm just going to bring that back round and down. It's going to help map out where Wolverine's features come into play. Now, he's also got this big angry snarl. So I'm going to create a mouth shape that fills most of this gap. And it's going to just go down and then up at the edges like so. And then it's going to come out and wide like a real Capcom comic Marvel character, so to speak. Really expressive. So then this shape is now going to go down at the edges, up in the middle, like so, and then background there. So it's a really odd shape to get for the mouth, but have a little play of it. Notice how it curves down at the top, almost like a smiley face, and then it's down more on the outside at the bottom and comes up just a little bit. Now I'm going to follow that line round that I've got for the bottom, and that's going to be the bottom area of the lip in general, and then I'm actually just going to let it grow a little touch further off to create this chin. So nice and square, and then really coming up and in on either side like so. Okay, excellent. Now what we're going to do is just map out the rest of Wolverine's figure, because this is really something that's going on. Now most of Wolverine is going to be the back. So from this circle here, I'm just going to draw this other rough elliptical shape around about here. If you imagine another circle that's really, really big, it's mostly the body, it's mostly the chest, it's mostly the back, and it just comes off around about here. It's a little bit egg-shaped, it's a touch taller than it is wide. Make sure that's nice and clear on the camera phone. It is indeed, and that's going to be where most of the body comes from. Now, if I kind of imagine a line around about here for the center of the back, or the crossing of the shoulder blades, then I know that I'm going to draw a big lump around about here. This is going to be the far away shoulder, the back of it. And then a really big lump, much bigger than the head shape. That's going to be around about here, right in the middle. And this is going to be the near shoulder. It's really big, really stylized, and there's going to be a lot of foreshortening as well. We've got a Wolverine claw and blade that's coming right out at us. And the reason why I like this image is because it's facing upwards instead of down, that I see in a lot of other pictures. There's many, many Wolverine images out there that are all very, very similar, but I really liked this for its completely different style. Now I'm just putting a line around here, following this curve, to indicate where the back's going, where the spine might be, just for later reference. But more importantly now, I'm going to have a nice, great big fist right in the bottom middle of the page. So I'm going to start this by drawing a really rough box that's ever so slightly at an angle like this. So rough it out as a box. That's great. And then now I can start to make some shapes into it. Over at the top corner, I'm going to put another rectangle that goes skew width straight across this box. That's going to be roughly where the thumb is. And that thumb is going to come down from the outside edge, kind of knuckle in from the side. And then now I'm going to split this box in half. And then I'm going to split it into quarters, like so. And this is where I'm going to put the fingers. So I'm going to have, if you imagine, a nice big knuckled joint here. And the finger's going to come down. And then I'm going to protrude slightly to the left. And just drop in these rough circle shapes to be really thick knuckles. Because the blades come from between the knuckles. It's a really important focus point. Another big knuckle there for the first finger that's going to come up like so. And then just put a little ridge here for more fingers, getting slightly smaller. And then down and out, another knuckle. We won't really see most of these. And then a little finger as well, coming in, doing a similar thing. So I've got the thumb joint in. I've got the knuckles. This one's going to probably actually come out and be more dominant. And this one will probably be a little bit lower. And then we'll see lots of foreshortening of the fingers as they bend away, something like that. And then obviously we need to map out where the spikes are going. So these spikes are facing mostly towards us, loads of foreshortening going on. So what I'm going to do is just work out that they're going to basically come up to a zone that follows around about Wolverine's mouth. So I'm going to start from this mouth, and I'm just going to draw a gentle curve that comes off here, like so. And then what I'm going to do is just connect that up with some lines. I'm going to go between these knuckles where the claw comes from. And this curve is going to go mostly straight up. So I'm going to just come down like this. One line. The next one is going to come further out and hook back in. So I'm going to maybe come up here, but come back and in like this. Really curving right at the bottom. And then the third one is probably going to be further out still. So just out here. And then again, coming out like that. Now, because of the shape of the claws, they kind of hook in, so we get these flatter edges on this side. I like how this one's already shaped, and then it's going to curve in and shallow as it goes back towards the fist like that. So there we've got one claw shape. I'm going to flatten it off on that side. Another claw shape here. Again, this outside curve will do just fine, but it's going to come all the way down, all the way low. We're going to show some thickness to it by repeating that line back up and in, and then it's going to shoot off into the knuckles. So this one's going to curve all the way back down like a line, like so. Excellent. Just going to bring it up here on the bottom edge just to show it really foreshortens. And then this one's much thinner, still got that element of thickness right here, but this is going to be a much sharper, thinner line that comes the point straight down to here. Excellent. So there we've got a rough idea of his claws. Now that we've got the fist here, we just need to join it back up to the body. So I'm going to go ahead and slightly off to the right. Just imagine this whole forearm zone is around about here. Now, with this particular depiction of Wolverine, he's got these greaves, these big metal silver bands that kind of come off around about here. So if I draw one of these in like so, and then I think I have this come around like that, and a second line that comes up and round like so, just on the inside like that. It means that then now I'm going to draw a big bicep bulge here, halfway between the forearm and the shoulder. Just bring it in. The shoulder, if we imagine, as well as being a circle, goes down into a bit of a point on the arm like that. And really this whole zone here is going to be the main part of the arm as well. So we're going to have tricep muscle that comes off the back there, just as another bump really. And then it kind of feeds into the forearm here, which is going to have an elbow zone around about there. And loads of other muscle groups are going to work here. So these are all really difficult to kind of deal with shapes when it comes to muscle groups, but know the main ones. A biceps here. We've got all sorts of muscles bunching in around the shoulder here. but for the most part they all do the same thing and go in the same direction. A bit of tricep on the end, and then we'll have loads of bunching forearm muscle, which is mostly bands of ribbon that kind of comes back in like so. So getting through that shape is always the toughest part, but once you've got that out of the way, it's a massive help. Now we're just going to have another fist coming off way further back with Wolverine. So we'll just place it round about here off the side of the face. This one's sideways on, so again I'm doing another rough rectangle. This one I'm going to turn into a bit of a 3D box though, like so. And again that's going to map out his fist for me. So if I just split it off into quarters, I know that we've got some knuckle joints around about here. I know that we're going to have further bits that kind of come in around about here where the fingers come down and in. Thumb joint's going to be around about there. Bit of a thumb muscle over the hand here. And the rest is just going to be the fingers as they squeeze on back in and create that shape. And around about there as well. Great. Then all we have to do is join this back to the body. So I'm just going to bring this forearm straight down here. Again, just show off these silver bands. I don't know if this is adamantanium as well. I don't believe so. I think these are just steel or something like that, just to give him a bit of a stronger reinforced punch. And then on the back muscles now, we just need to show a few things. We're going to show a shoulder blade that bumps a bit around about here. So just imagine another curve comes up, bumps out a bit like so. We've got the main neck and back muscles that pinch up here. So we're just going to show this shape coming in there. Very gently, a little bit of the same on the other side, not too much. And then the shoulder obviously can just bump off and do what it does like so. Then the rest of the back here just becomes a bit more like the rib cage as it comes around here. So you can kind of get in a couple shadow lines up and around like that. But otherwise, the bulge does the rest of the work until it goes out of view. And then on this side as well, we're just going to measure out from the hand a rough, slightly curving line round about here. So inside the edge of this spike. And that's just going to be the limits of these claws. So again, just going to try to draw a line that goes down between these knuckles, roughly like so. Maybe another one that comes up here, like so. And another one that comes over here, like so. By the way, as I'm doing this, if I sound really nasally and weird, it's because I have a cold at the moment. So many thanks for bearing with. Now again, to get that shape, they've got that kind of thicker hook in sort of design like a claw. So they're quite big there. And then they'll just come back in and thin out a bit. Quite big here. And then comes in and thins out a bit. And quite big here as well. And thins out a bit as it goes back in. That's nice and clear. Just going to turn them into points. Refine that shape a little bit. And once you've got your basic shapes for drawing your character in there, you can really refine it as much or as little as you want. But the building blocks really help you decide what's going on. Now, because he's in a very low crouch, there's going to be a leg that just kind of goes off a little bit around here. It's just a bit of a leg shape, so I'm just going to draw that up. I'm going to have a ball here where the knee would be. That's where there's going to be a bit of a lump, perhaps. But it's just going to be mostly hidden behind everything else, so no problems there. And then on this side as well, this Wolverine image has a belt that kind of goes around here. Not sure what's on it, what he stores on there. But we'll just put a couple of rectangular shapes in there, just to indicate that it might be like an army camo utility thing. Then we've got a leg that comes right down and off really closely in here. This is a heavily foreshortened leg as well. It's still far behind the arm, but it does mean that the knee kind of comes around about here. And then there's loads of leg muscle that's going to bunch in. Loads of thigh action around about there. And it just foreshortens off. Now, if this looks like a lumpy mess, basically it's foreshortening off all the way back to kind of indicate there's a boot way back here. And he's stepping way down there. Not to worry about. All the main focus is obviously around here. So let's go in and do Wolverine's face. This is the traditional comic book version of Wolverine. So, under the brow, we're going to just draw in this angry white eye. So we can do that as a curve that comes up and in. And then the same on the other side as well. Curves in. The nose area is going to just be pointed out a little bit more. And then we're just going to zag that in a little bit. And then zag out because there is these color patterns to his outfit. which goes up, follows this brow line up like so, a little bit stronger to the top, and then backs out and in, and then actually just shoots off and becomes this kind of Wolverine wedge shape that he has in the comic book uniforms before they try to incorporate it into his haircut like they do in the movies. So if you imagine like a bit of a Batman style, super thick, heavy bat wing that comes right off there, comes round and back in, and then just meets up with the rest of the face and the strong jaw, all the muscled action like that. And then as this head shape comes up around here, we can imagine that there's another bit. Use this to indicate how far up we're going to go, and it's around about here. So it's going to shoot up maybe on that side, and it's going to curve back around to meet that brow line there. Excellent. So that curves in there, meets up with the rest of everything. There is obviously lots of bunching up in the face. We put in loads of stress lines. Get the nostrils in as well on either side of this Wolverine character. And then we'll get just a few more lines around about here and some shadow areas to show that this is all really dipped far back and in, like that. A few bits around the jawline like that, just showing all the muscle lines coming down, especially around about here on the flesh part. And then we'll just do a big curve in to indicate a row of teeth there, and then another big curve around the bottom side with a curved line in to show a bit of a gap, yelling out the teeth are separated. And this is going to be the teeth around the bottom. So with these curved lines and doing teeth, just get that shape in. Then after that, you can just do loads of lines to get the perspective correct on all the individual teeth. And then you can just sort of round them off and shade in the gap in the middle. But it gives you the right idea of what we're after. Everything coming down, big angry snarl, and so on. Oh, and before I forget, we actually need to sort out the pattern on his uniform as well. So let's bring a line up and around here over the main part of the arm and the shoulder. That's going to be where the sleeve is. And then most of the shoulder is in his dark blue pattern. So I'm just following the line of the body. A curve that comes round down into a spike here. And then I'm going to curve up because where the shoulder stops, then we've got more of that blue pattern that comes up and around and actually joins in with Wolverine's mask colours as well. So it comes up around about here from about there. So let's get that in. Lovely. Curve it round all the way around the back and the rest of the body like so. That's our marking point. And then in a very similar way on the other side, we know that around about here, there's a big kind of spike or dagger shape that's still on the Wolverine yellow. Then there's going to be that blue that comes in and follows round on the back. And this shoulder will be in the blue as well. So here we've got our blue zone, more blue zone, same there, and obviously all the way up here as well. These glove areas will be in blue. This is going to be skin and flesh, and the rest I think there's a bit of blue patch on the leg, but otherwise Wolverine yellow. Okay everybody, I'm going to drop into the time lapse. I'm going to put all sorts of shadow and area around in all the unlit areas. Unfortunately we haven't got time to go through all of it because this video would be way too long. But do copy along at home as you watch me do it in a time lapse, and I'll see you guys right at the end. And there you have it guys, a nice quick, although not particularly simple picture of Wolverine. So link to the original artwork in the description below. I'm going to drop this into some colour once I scan it in. And you lovely guys at home, remember to click like and subscribe if you like this kind of thing and you'd want to subscribe. Otherwise I'll see you guys next time round. Peace and love.